So we're going to take the ingredients of both disciplines, mix them all up in a bowl, and come up with, as we say at the bottom, an extremely powerful combination of tools. So on the lead side, based on the Toyota operating system, that we want to get waste out of the system, relentless elimination of waste, flow, and we're going to talk more about that as we go through, but it's all about creating flow and getting rid of the roadblocks that stop flow in the process, right? We want to continue to add value as we go from step to step in our process. So the big strength here, right, is efficiency. On the Six Sigma side, right, we're focused on our three voices: voice of the customer, voice of the business, voice of the employee, data-based decision making, getting rid of variation, so variation waste, nice parallel there. We've got some analytical and statistical rigor, so again, that data-based decision making, and so our processes become very effective. So hey, that's a nice combination. We're efficient and effective, and that's why the tool sets work so nicely together. So now we're going to get into the elements of waste. So when we look at the lean side of your project, we're gonna search for waste. So anything other than the minimum amount of time, material, people, resources, space, energy to add value to the product or service, as we go step by step through the process. The Japanese word for waste is muda, so sometimes you'll see the 7 elements of muda. Sometimes you'll see the Japanese words. We've got them on one of the slides coming up. But the idea is that waste is the enemy, just like variation is the enemy, and we are going to be relentless and go after it. All right, so we say that we have to be able to see the waste, and believe me, you'll be able to see the waste in all your processes after you've done a project or two, and we start to focus on where is the waste and how can we get rid of it. So just what are these 7 elements of waste, components of waste, waste or muda? These are the 7 that we'll go into some detail. So overproduction, correction or defects, rework, inventory or work in process, motion, so here we talk about it within the step, overprocessing, doing more than the customer wants or needs, conveyance, moving things between steps, and then waiting, which is usually a bad result of some of the other wastes. Some add in a couple of additional wastes, so the underutilization of your people. So if they're waiting, they're not utilized to do good work. And then the addition of safety. So if we're not being safe in the workplace, then it doesn't really matter where our wastes are coming from. In your notes, in the notes page, we include a couple of mnemonics, and so spell that a few times. One is Timwood, the other is Comwhip, and you can see how we just rearrange the elements here to come up with that. Hey, how do I remember the 7 elements? Well, you can either use either of those, and there's probably a dozen others to try to remember these 7 concepts. But let's look at them in some detail. All right, let's start off at the top. Overproduction. Overproduction means producing more than the next step needs, or the customer can buy in any time period. So we're just shoving stuff into the production environment, whether we need it or not. So we're kind of operating by schedule versus operating by demand. And boy, I've seen all of these in projects over my career. Extra reports, hey, we send out the report, but nobody seems to do anything with it. Multiple copies of data, so what is the single source of the truth? I didn't know what it was until I heard this whole term of the golden data, or the keepers of the master data. That's the term, the master data, and whole teams of people that keep the data cleansed, over ordering of materials, duplicate efforts or reports. And I'll just give you one example. There's so many, but I was working with one of the furniture companies in the west side of Michigan, and they had a consultant come in, kind of like, they had us come in to do Lean and Six Sigma, and it was a Japanese company, and they made the equipment that cut out the laminate for your desks and your cabinets and your front of your drawers. So it was all cut from the same sheet, and so they came in and they had an optimization program that would cut out the most parts for a sheet of laminate, so you didn't have much waste. That sounds great, right? We're eliminating waste. Well, as you looked right down the production line through the plant, there were just stacks and stacks and stacks of these little circular tables that just happened to get thrown into the mix all the time, because it didn't waste the laminate. And so we started to look at what was the demand for that particular little tabletop, and they had about 5 years worth of production readiness for that. So although they tried to do Lean in one hand, they were doing really bad things in the realm of overproduction. So we don't want to produce more than we can use at the next step.